Hey Taurus, welcome to your February reading. I have already pulled the cards, ready for us to read because I got tongue-tied when I was talking. I'm like, you know what, we're just going to start again. I was only on the first card, so we're all good. Nothing has been revealed. I haven't seen anything yet. We're going to read this naturally. So it's February. This is our monthly reading. Go check out your weekly readings for a more in-depth week-to-week basis. But right now, this is for February. We are starting with lunar strength, lunar magic. So this is a really good time for us energetically. I feel like this card is saying that it's really supporting us in our growth. But also I feel like with this card, it's very much about activating those wolf kind of senses. You know how a wolf out in the wild, they can really trust their instincts. They trust in what they smell, all of their senses, what they hear. They're really good trackers. And this is it. I kind of feel like really homing in on the trusting your intuition, trusting all of your senses on the direction that you need to be taking during this time. But again, the moon is supporting you, which means follow the moon cycle. We'll be coming into a full moon in mid-February, which is probably around the time where you may be reading this, watching this reading, sorry. And so we're coming to the full moon, so I would say that it's a time for releasing, which I've just done your week, which is your second week reading, and it really is about releasing and letting go of things that no longer serve. So that makes sense that this is coming up for the month. A crossing energy, I will not read that yet. Actually, I'll read the next card and then the crossing energy with this. So outer wisdom, Merlin's temple. Again, this is saying to me that, you know, the energy in the air is supporting you. There is wisdom on the outside. So I feel like trust in what you have, like things that are showing up, trust it. Use it to your benefit. So anything that is coming into your circles, into your vision of knowledge, whether it be through lines of gossip or for you witnessing and observing something, this is all things that may help you on your journey at the moment with whatever's going on, right? The crossing energy is Elizabeth and the Lion. It's time to become a great leader. Now, this card gives to me kind of like the strength card, and it's about knowing that you are all that you need. You are enough in order to be where you are and be what you are and what you need right now. You are the leader. This card is saying that use all of that you have as your strength. So this is, again, if you're feeling vulnerable and emotional, these are strengths and gifts. Often we can really see these as vulnerabilities, but when we really kind of use, I want to say, like, observe how we're feeling. For an example of what I'm talking about, just so this is not as cryptic. That's the word I got stumbled up on when I started reading this. I couldn't find it. I was like, rhythmic, cryptic is the word. I feel like I become quite cryptic with this in how I'm wording things. So I'm trying to be really clear so it's easier to understand. But for example, feeling emotional, often we can see this as just feeling weak, as a weakness, right? Because we're all about trying to be our best selves and presenting that in the world. However, having the ability to feel emotions and really understand an emotion is a really massive strength and actually a really great tool to use to get to where we want to be, because we can understand how something is making us feel. We acknowledge that this is a warning. This is like, being around this person is making me miserable every day. Doing everything for this person is not bringing me joy. Like, if you are with someone, for example, in a relationship, and you are the main caretaker, you're doing everything. If you are in with a good person, that will not bother you. They are grateful for what you do. They appreciate you. They're giving as much as you are, as much as they are receiving. So this is a healthy space. When this comes into a place where you acknowledge and you're feeling so down and rough and miserable all the time, acknowledging and realizing that that person's energy is doing that to you. Do you want to sit in that energy for longer, or is there something you need to do to shift and change this energy? It's not always about leaving, even though if you check your weekly, but this is for the second week of February. If you are watching this during this time, go check your weekly out, because I definitely feel like there's a little bit of advice in there. But basically, this is about shifting and changing. So if something isn't in alignment with you, working with your strengths and your ability to shift and change that energy. I know change is scary, Taurus, but it's good for us. It works for us, especially with the energy we're in at the moment. It's supporting us completely, pushing us towards what's meant for us, right? You can have the ability to shift and change a relationship. So what do we do? we change something, we communicate, we say, hey, I am tired, I am exhausted. I did this in my marriage. It came out of the blue for me. I didn't even know I was feeling these things. I was so overwhelmed with life. And all of a sudden I'm like, I need space. Like, I couldn't even know why. I learned a lot about myself during this time, but I couldn't understand why. So what I did is put a fork in the works and be like, I need space. Something's off. I don't know what. I couldn't explain it, and that was frustrating in itself for my ex-partner. But I just knew all I had to say is I need space. I need time to figure out this, because I was so overwhelmed by everything. And taking something out of the equation, like having to put my all into a relationship, I needed to just be like, I need to take a step back. I wasn't leaving the relationship initially. I got forced into that decision by numerous things, because that shift of change created the wave of change which made something happen that needed to happen, because clearly it wasn't supportive of me. It wasn't supportive of what I needed during that time, and I was very vocal about what I needed. I said, I need space. I can't give you answers. I don't know the answers myself, because now in hindsight I can explain why. I was going through so much and overwhelmed, overburdened. I went through a burnout, which has lasted for like 2 years based on everything I had to go through from the fallout of that as well. Did not help. It was not supportive of me for sure. It got me out of that space, but it created the shift and change that I needed to now, in hindsight, know why I was going through that, and that, yeah, the person I was with wasn't supportive of me and wasn't there to be a supporting energy. We had outgrown each other at the end of the day, and that's natural. It happens. Sometimes, me doing that could have created a really good change. It could have helped change the dynamic of the relationship so it was more supportive. I don't feel like that was meant for me, and clearly that came to show. But as an example for you, Taurus, and how that energy can help you, is we have to stop being scared to make change in our relationships, because making the change can be the exact ingredients that shows us either it's meant for us or that it's not. When someone shows you how strong they are as a partner and how they can show up for you in your spaces, that's going to really seal everything for you, especially us Taurus, because we are loyal as fudge. And so again, yeah, that will just do all the things to turn those buttons on again, right? Or it'll turn them off, and it'll take them away from the equation, and again support you as a person, as your needs. So again, nobody's telling you to leave. It's telling you to make changes and be the leader, because the leader knows what they have to do, and sometimes it's doing the hard stuff. I always come out of these situations worse for wear, as in being the villain, because the person makes me have to be a villain, because I'm not a very proactive person in my own life, because I put other people's needs and wants first. So when it comes down to me making the best choices for myself, I kind of step back and take myself away from the equation. I'm not saying this is a healthy thing, but it's my natural thing that I'm kind of getting used to and accepting about myself, that that's me, that's who I am, and that's how I create the ways to be more supportive of me, because again, other people are not going to do that. We're going to do that for ourselves, right? And so sometimes being a leader is making the hard decisions and having to be being told to the world that you're a villain. You're the one that made this happen because you couldn't just sit there and look pretty and be happy. All right? That's a leader. It's making the tough choices. And definitely I would do things time and time again the same way, because I feel like things were revealed. And this is the point I want to come across for us, Taurus, is that you are your strength, and the decisions you make right now, I feel like really going to be very supportive of you. And again, using the outside wisdom, and I said this I think in the weekly, and I've just done it, and I feel like I need to repeat that right now, that people's words, actions, they're the value we take it on, not what we think we know about them. For example, somebody loves you, so are they showing you they love you? Are they telling you they love you? Are their words and their actions, are they in alignment with that? Because sometimes knowing, we sometimes view love as something that is different from how people act and how people behave, and that it's not. People will treat you how they respect you on the level of love that they have for you, and knowing something is different from being shown and actually having facts. And I feel like you need to take things on face value during this time. Okay, moving on. We have a crossing energy here. I'm going to read the crossing energy first because of the position that it is where I've laid the cards out. Usually that means something, so we'll go with that. Wolf moon, I will watch over you. definitely the moon is supporting us. We've had wolves and moons in these are two positions from two different decks as well, that we are supported during this time. Again, that means that our instincts are in alignment. So trusting your intuition, trusting yourself is of high regard in this reading for February. But also I feel that this is indicating loyalty as well. I think this may be a focus for us for who and what is loyal to us, whether it be our day-to-day things that we do, whether, the career path that we're choosing is loyal to who and what we want. If the people we have in our lives are loyal to us or their own desires, I feel like it really is a time of shaping and understanding this so that we can prioritize what is a priority. I hope that makes sense. This moves on to, and I will come back to that card on the lower cards too because of how this crosses, so I may move between cards here. Embody forgiveness and also seek balance are together. Now one of them represents overwhelm, which is the seek balance as well. So this is about, for me, I'm sensing that I'm very anxious because there's something I want and I'm aspiring to, and then I have these doubts that creep in. So Taurus, this for me is a similar vibe of realizing that we need to let go of past lessons that we've learned, as a sense of sometimes we built a layer of protection here, Taurus, and this is about releasing and letting go of that layer of protection because you're not in a space where you need that protection anymore. I'm definitely learning that for myself, that I need to stop. I'm trying to put myself out there more because I built this level of protection where I shut myself away. It's what I do to heal, is I kind of shut myself away. I feel like that is a Taurus energy where we take ourselves away in order to heal and become our whole self. I feel like that's always the goal. We just want to be a whole again. Whereas naturally we're existing in the world whether we're a whole or not, and we have to find our place. And it starts with releasing and letting go of things that don't serve. And I do think that there's this level of self-protection that we do need to be dropping during this time. And that can be a little bit uncomfortable and overwhelming because it's natural for these worries, these panics to come to the surface when we start to dip our toes into wherever we want to be right now. And I think that, again, the focus needs to be on a priority. I think I've said this in every one of our readings, but if we do have Aries in our chart, I do, maybe it's good to watch both because they're a crossing energy here because we have a lot of the same dynamics coming through. Focusing on the priorities that we want and not allowing other distractions. I do feel like we're going to have a lot going on at the minute, and it's about bringing them all into balance, and that's the overwhelm here because it's like a lot all at once. If, like me, Taurus, you've kind of been shutting yourself away from the main world, because I definitely do. That's the only way I can explain that for myself. Shutting yourself from the main world. I feel like, yes, now you might be starting to emerge from the cocoon, and again, it's like a lot all of a sudden because it's gone from maybe 0 to 80, something like that. Again, edge into something, but it is a time of taking action. So again, forgive yourself for feeling these things that will arise, the anxiety, any confusion, any fears. It's like allow them to be felt, but allow them to drop away and just acknowledge which are fears, like fear of failure, and or real fear, true things to be wary of. Okay, so when you're worried that something might not work out, is it just because you're just worried because you want it so much? Then that's a fear that we overcome. That's a fear we move past. Or is it a fear that's like genuine? Like, again, I'll just use the one that I always use. If you're worried that if you touch the fire you'll burn, yes, that's probably what's going to happen, right? So we don't touch the fire. But if it's just a fabricated belief that we've put upon ourselves as a self-protection, trust your instincts and know that you will know the difference. And just, forgive yourself in that moment. The forgive yourself really comes with stop holding on to resentment and worries and things of other people, like putting anything of other people's views, opinions, or past behaviors, pushing that aside. Forgive yourself for holding on to that, or forgive yourself in that moment for allowing that to distract you, and move on from it rather than focusing and realizing that, and making that be a problem that, again, is just blocking your path. I feel like it's just bringing things into balance. But again, this is a period of balance, so I do think with this overwhelm card, it's just taking yourself back into the world. It's like being a toddler. Everything is always overwhelming, but we are confident and eager enough to put ourselves out there, but just be aware of burnout and, make sure you're nurturing yourself. The crossing energy with the next one, how am I going to read this? Yeah, I'm going to read the crossing energy because it goes, bats in the belfry, you can achieve great things. So we don't allow the distractions because we are capable, we can. This is saying you can do it. And I'm going to say you will, so let's go. With this card, she's very much supportive in saying that you are capable of manifesting the world that you wish. So again, this energy is crossing the overwhelm card, and then she crosses onto feel your emotions, right? So it's like you can do this. This is the reassuring of counteracting those anxieties where we go, can I though? Am I enough? Am I in the space? Am I ready? It's you can achieve great things. So let's get going. I do feel like she is a card that's saying, yes, everything's going to go okay. We've got this. Now this feel your emotions card is saying, you might feel vulnerable. This may feel risky, but this is a risk worth taking. But again, feel the emotions and let them flow through you. We feel, we heal. We don't hold on to. So again, like today, just recording, I started to feel anxious while recording. So as I did my first video, I was just starting to feel like, am I meant to be doing this? Is this right? Like, we're questioning ourselves. And I could have just not recorded today and made life harder for myself. I meant that I had to do, because last week I had to do all recordings in just 2 days because of how the week worked out with my son starting school on the Tuesday, and then I had Lunar New Year where I celebrated with family, so I was doing a lot of cooking and then celebrating and drinking, and then I was hungover while I was recording, but we won't go there. So I was starting to doubt. Those self-doubts are coming through. I felt it and I said, no, come on, we're going to just stick with this. We'll see how we go. We can assess this in 3 months? We can assess this in 6 months. We can assess this when we come into next year and have to make decisions then. But right now, this is a decision we are going with, and we're going to be strong in our resolve and trust in the process. And that was me working through my emotions of feeling it, understanding why I feel this way, and moving forward. And that's how, Taurus, I want you to be working through these emotions to be productive, because you are growing something. And in this, I'm getting from her that we are bringing things into life, and it's stuff that we have worked on before, which again is really in alignment with my own self being a Taurus. So that is making sense that we are growing. But again, she has a lot. The same with I'll see if I can show you. So this was the first card, even though I think it's on the wrong way of you viewing, and this is the second card. So we have, again, with the overwhelm, it's like there's a lot here. These, to me, are things we're taking on. And then, again, she has all these other things as well. But I feel like there's things that we should be bringing to life that we have already worked on before that I feel like coming into our awareness of what we want. And it may be repeating things again and knowing that, again, you are different and the outcome will be different. And I feel it's just nurturing something back into existence or growing and expanding on what already is, if that makes sense for you and your goals. But again, you may have a lot of things going on which may feel like it's a lot. But again, working through that, you can achieve great things. So down here we have embrace your shadow, light and dark. And that is working with your emotions. So again, working with light and dark, it's like working with your strengths and weaknesses. Now, I don't feel like actually as people we do have weaknesses in the sense that we have naturally been made to believe our weaknesses, because I actually see a lot of things that we view as weaknesses as great strengths. But the way that we've been programmed, we see them as a bad thing. So we don't allow them to actually effectively be a part of who we are. And I feel like that's the detachment that a lot of society has these days, right? So this is working with the whole of that is you. So we can touch on, like, for example, people can see anxiety as a big weakness, but it can be your strength because it really does highlight things that's going on with yourself. I feel like people with anxiety have a lot more self-awareness because we really do overanalyze things. We overprocess things to a point where we can see it. We just don't know how to deal with it necessarily when we are in the more vulnerable stages of anxiety where it can be all consuming. But once we realize that it brings us this level of awareness, we can work with that, right? And that's exactly this. It's about really using your whole self to really put yourself out there. For example, talking about weaknesses, talking about what we perceive as weaknesses can really be seen as something that we shouldn't do. However, we are seeing in the world that now by sharing things on a mass scale, it helps us realize that we are all the same, that we're not the only one going through certain things, and that in itself creates the community that we need, the strength that's the strength. We've created this community all of a sudden, and other people to relate to. We're not alone. And this again helps to heal those wounds that we perceived as weaknesses became our strength. And sharing is a massive strength as well, which people will perceive that as a weakness as well, people sharing their experiences. And I think that really it's about you accepting the alls of you is something to embrace right now. But again, embracing your shadow means that you need to see yourself for who you are. Now, this is a crossing energy. I have 2 crossing energies here, but the top one, which I said before, is Elizabeth and the Lion. It's time to be a great leader. Being a great leader, it comes with a lot of observation, and also sometimes it is not taking action is an action. It's acknowledging that as a leader, you have to make the hard choices. Sometimes that's stepping back and letting someone take the lead. I don't think that is what we are being asked to do. But again, it's just acknowledging that being a great leader is not being controlling. It is not being this dominant thing in a space. It's about taking up the space that you need, again, on your journey, while allowing other people to have their space too. Little owling. And I feel like the reason I've said that is because this card basically represents wisdom. And it's something that comes naturally. And I feel like you, Taurus, us Taurus, we are natural leaders anyway, because all of that energy that I've been describing, I feel it's just it's naturally ingrained in our essence on how we kind of perceive the world and the way that we allow ourselves to exist in the world as well. I do feel like we do control how the world interacts with us as much as how we interact with the world. And I don't think it is a level of it, like it is a controlling factor, like we have to control it. It's just naturally we move in that kind of way that does control it. We're manifesting, right? We're great manifestors. Now this, for me, it's like because of this ingrained wisdom within us, we can flow, which means the wisdom is as light as a feather. It's so ingrained in you that you can trust and know. This card is saying trust in the wisdom that you have, trust in your intuition, trust in how you feel, right? This comes to the next card. I will have to move it so I can see. Inner wisdom. Literally next card. It's the exact same. 2 in a row. Wisdom is light as a feather. Inner wisdom. Trust in yourself. Trust in the now. And I feel like that's the point. Like if you do have any questions, any like queries, like where am I going? What do I want? It's all within you. You already know. I feel like it's just potentially if you are a little bit on that part of like the what am I doing? It's more trusting what you know and trusting that you have got this. You can do great things. 2 owls in a row, definitely a lot of wisdom, which means you're in a growth period as well and that you're learning a lot through this. But I feel like the whole point to these cards appearing here is that you do have all that you need already, and you have been through a period of learning and growing. And so again, I feel like you are the wise owl in this situation. I may need a drink of water. Too much talking. So crossing energy here to the next that we have from the top as well is that I will watch over you. So again, you are guarded. And again, the intuition is flowing. I feel like we have a lot of divine intuition flowing through us right now. So this is again a reminder to trust in the flow of your guidance, your truth, and that you'll know what's what, right? You'll know what to do. Okay, moving on to the next. We have 2 cards in this position. With that crossing energy between these 2. Have patience and express your heart. So patience and story keeper. So straight away, have patience. Just she looks like she's trusting. She's trusting her intuition. She's trusting the guidance. She's looking within. This is her being patient and observing. I feel like I touched on observing somewhere else up here, and I do feel like that's an energy for us to be in. It's kind of like actually while you are taking the steps towards where you need to go, watch watch the space, observe, be patient. And I do think that if we want a result, that we need to be patient for that result. And that to me feels like this is a reminder that it will be coming. It's here. Especially express your heart. So this is you putting yourself out there. Go for what it is that your heart desires. Do you want expanse? Do you want relationship? Do you want career? Do you want finances? So expand your heart and know that you can have. And once you fully are in that space of accepting and knowing, again, I feel like that's when things will start to fall into place. But have patience that this is a process that we are going through, but the energy is supportive here. Again, I'll remind you of the crossing energy of you being watched over, and then that you can achieve great things is above this as well. The crossing energy here, moving on to the last card, is heed wise counsel and listen. So to me, you are really being told to observe, and that being something that can be highly beneficial to you during this time, Taurus. But if you are into reading, I am reading like no tomorrow at the moment. I would say that that could be something that will really help you. I can say from experience that it is helping me. I feel like I'm finding a key aspect of myself that I have always loved and longed for. That's me in my dream worlds, in books, in fantasy world. I am a fantasy fiction reader, so for me, getting to new worlds really brings me to feel like I know who I am. And I know that probably will not make sense if that's not who you are, because I feel like I'm a little weirdo sometimes, but it does that for me. It's like, this is who we are. This is our comfort. This is our love. This is our strength. And it comes just from reading and getting lost in different worlds and dreaming. And so I feel like this could be good for you, but if you're not in the same way, like in your way. So again, this could be learning time, a time for learning. So this observe and express your heart. It's like jumping into learning and discovering that feeds your passion. So I hope that makes sense to you. I am getting the sense of you just needing to lose yourself into whatever it is that you want right now. So again, we move on to the heed wise counsel of the frog princess. She's telling you to listen. So again, trust in your guidance, trust in what you're feeling, your emotions, your everything that is pushing you and pulling you to wherever it is that you want to be at. Trust in that. And if you do need to seek advice, go to, again, it's saying wise counsel. So again, if there's an area that you want to know about, maybe you potentially seek a professional that knows that. So again, if you are doing inner work, you see a therapist, go seek wise counsel from a good therapist. If you are wanting to study and expand your career, head in the right directions to the educational paths or the people who are going to help you. I feel as though by going to where the direction of where you need to go is like you are directional right now. So again, seeking wise counsel into the area of expertise, or even if it is leaning on a friend who's been through a similar thing or working in the same area, that kind of vibe. With that, focus on friendship, magical friendships. I do feel like there's great connections for us leading up, and I feel like being in your authentic truth space is going to open you up in terms of relationships. So we are in February, we have Valentine's, so here is finally something related to other people that I feel coming through, because this is all about you and your growth. And I think it's because Taurus, for us, stepping out and away from relationships and connections is actually quite a difficult thing. Especially, like, I can say for myself, like, I am really, really ruled by Venus. Like, it's literally so hard for me to look outside of myself as just a one person sometimes, because I just create a unity around my person when I'm in a relationship. Like, that person is me, and I'm breathing and living their life, and it can be all consuming sometimes that I just don't exist in my own world, like, because I'm existing in their world, and like I feel like that is a toxic thing that I do for myself. But I feel like that's why the energy is supporting moving away from that for a little bit, to really become more independent, to achieve our aspirations and goals in life that may be aside from it. And I feel like that whole energy is supporting growth in the areas that normally naturally we might have. And I think that could be a worry for many of us, thinking, but if I focus on that, how will I find love, or will I end up being in a relationship, or will my relationship always be this way, etc., etc., etc. And this to me is saying that it all is in alignment of supporting that. For example, once you go after what it is that you're craving right now, it will lead you to be in an authentic space that opens you up to better connections or rekindling friendships or rebuilding relationships, whatever your dynamic is. It's like kind of, I feel this card is representing community being helpful for you right now and being supportive of you, but also being like, once you're in the space, it's there for you to snap up and enjoy and delve into. But again, focus on what is your main goal during this time. I do want to say, don't overwhelm yourself by, again, focusing on outside influences, because naturally they will flow to you and be supportive of you. So yeah, there we go, Taurus. So thank you guys for being here. That wraps up your reading. Please subscribe to my channel to stay up to date with your monthly and weekly. The weeklies will be up now, so head over to there and check it out. And I hope to share this year with you. So feel free to comment and keep me up to date with where you're at. Thank you guys. I'll see you next week.